promote human rights, to ensure.
Hello and welcome. I'm Thomas Porteous. You're watching the World Report on NewsX World. Let's take a look at some of the top headlines of this hour. The United States and Iran begin a third round of indirect talks in Geneva, mediated by Oman. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi leads Iran, with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner representing Washington on the nuclear file. Ukrainian and US officials hold reconstruction talks as Russia fires 420 drones and 39 missiles overnight. President Volodymyr Zelensky says dozens are injured across 8 regions as peace efforts stall. Bill and Hillary Clinton are set to testify before the House Oversight Committee in its Jeffrey Epstein investigation. The depositions will take place in Chappaqua, New York. World Economic Forum chief Borge Brande steps down amid an investigation into his ties to Epstein. US records show he met the late sex offender 3 times and exchanged messages. Israeli military vehicles enter Syria's Quintira province in the Golan Heights, local media has reported. Syrian state TV says a 30-vehicle convoy carried out a search near Ain Zawan. Nearly 8,000 migrants died or went missing last year, the United Nations body has said, warning the real figure may be higher. The IOM blames tighter borders and fewer legal routes for driving people to smugglers. Cuban forces kill 4 and wound 6 after a Florida-registered boat opens fire in Cuban waters. Officials say the armed group from the US included suspected anti-government plotters. UNICEF warns of heavy civilian casualties from Myanmar military airstrikes during the civil war. Local reports say attacks in Sagaing and Rakhine kill at least 24 people. We start in Geneva, where talks between the United States and Iran are taking place. And according to reports, the pivotal US-Iran talks have started. Apologies, they've now paused. According to the Iranian Foreign Ministry, Iran's indirect talks with the United States focused primarily on Tehran's nuclear program and its push to lift sanctions. Let's take a listen in.
موضوع مذاکره همونطور که بارها گفته شده متمرکز هست بر بحث هسته‌ای. مواضع ما روشن هست هم در حوزه رفع تحریم‌ها و هم در رابطه با حقوق و منافع هسته‌ای ایران، استفاده هسته‌ای از انرژی هسته‌ای، دیدگاه‌ها و ملاحظات کشورمون به طور مبسوط به طرف عمانی منعکس شد. امروز از صبح اطلاعی که ما داریم گفتگوها بین طرف آمریکایی و طرف عمانی شروع شده. قاعدتاً بخشی از کار ما رصد نقطه نظرات و اظهار نظرهایی است که مقام‌های آمریکایی مطرح می‌کنند. این تناقض‌گویی بخشی از روندی بوده که ما در این 1 سال باش مواجه بودیم. قاعدتاً اگر دیدگاهی داشته باشند، فرض بفرمایید وزیر امور خارجه آمریکا همین ساعات اخیر نقطه نظراتی در مورد موضوعات هسته‌ای، موضوعات مذاکره‌ای مطرح کرده که اگر چنین دیدگاهی هست باید در
The country is under increasing pressure to agree to a nuclear deal, with the US warning of serious consequences if Iran does not comply. The US Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has highlighted Iran's refusal to discuss its development of intercontinental ballistic missiles as a major hurdle in the negotiations. Despite ongoing tensions, both sides remain hopeful for progress, although concerns over Iran's broader military intentions persist. Joining us in this discussion about the ongoing talks in Geneva is Dr. Emmanuel Navon, an international relations lecturer at Tel Aviv University and senior fellow at the Jerusalem Institute for Strategy and Security. Joining us live from Tel Aviv. Thank you very much, Dr. Navon, for joining us. We're just getting a statement in from the Omani foreign minister, who, by the way, is mediating these talks, al-Busaidi. He has called the exchange between the United States and Iran creative and positive. This is the man who is delivering those messages in between the two parties. What are your thoughts on that and how these negotiations seem to be going? Of course, we have limited information. The two sides are on very different pages, as we've just heard the Iranian spokesperson say, and also the Secretary of State. But what are your thoughts on how these negotiations might go?
I think what is important is not how the negotiations are going, but what they will be delivering, if at all. The bottom line is Iran going to accept America's demands to stop its nuclear program, its higher enrichment of uranium, to stop developing its aggressive missile program, and to stop funding its proxies throughout the Middle East? The United States set very clear demands, and President Trump, in his address to Congress, said very clearly that he prefers diplomacy of a war. But the objectives of the United States are very clear. It is for Iran to stop its axis of aggression, which, by the way, the Iranian regime has the nerve to describe as an axis of resistance. It's not an axis of resistance, it's an axis of aggression. And Iran is posing a threat to its neighbors, but also to Europe and now to the United States. And as I said, what is important is not what we hear from Geneva right now, but what we will eventually hear at the end of those negotiations, meaning, is the Islamic Republic of Iran accepting, yes or no, to meet the demands of the US government?
Dr. Navon, do stay with us. I just want to reiterate some of that breaking news that we have coming in from those talks. Oman's foreign minister has said that we hope to make more progress, adding that both US and Iranian negotiators have adjourned for a break. They will resume later today. Oman's foreign minister further stated that they have been exchanging creative and positive ideas in Geneva. Dr. Navon, what leverage do the Iranians have here? They have said that they will not give up their right to peaceful enrichment, that they are open to negotiating a substantial decline in it, but they won't give up its peaceful means of enrichment for nuclear energy. Another thing they've said is off the table is though support for regional proxies, something that the United States hopes to bring in, and of course also its ballistic program. Do you trust the son-in-law of Donald Trump, Jared Kushner, and of course his Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, to press on these issues a substantial amount? Are these real deal breakers for them, do you think, or is this mainly going to focus on the nuclear file?
Talking about trust, I certainly do not trust the Islamic Republic of Iran when it says that its nuclear program is peaceful. If it were peaceful, then they would not be enriching uranium at military level, and they would not insist on carrying on their long-term missile program and financing their terrorist proxies throughout the Middle East in order to implement their aggressive policies in the Middle East. So I do not trust the Iranian regime when it says that its nuclear program is for peaceful means. It is for war and for its objective of destroying the state of Israel and the Jewish people, and of achieving this imperialistic policy in the Middle East. But this is not going to work, because to answer your question about what leverage Iran has today, it has no leverage at all. It is a failed economy facing the world's only superpower, and it has to either accept the conditions of the United States or face war. And in that sense, It's not that the Iranian regime has any leverage, but unfortunately, it is motivated by a suicidal ideology. It is willing to sacrifice its own population in order to implement its demented ideology of bringing the 12th Imam and being willing to sacrifice their population for that stake.
Navon, thank you so much for taking the time in joining us. Of course, we'll be keeping tabs on all the news coming out of Geneva here on the channel as those talks resume when they do. We now move on to our next story and move over to the Eastern Pacific. A Hong Kong flagged tanker carrying fuel likely bound for Cuba has halted navigation in the Atlantic Ocean. Ship tracking data has showed a blow for the oil-thirsty Caribbean nation. The tanker Seahorse loaded through a ship-to-ship transfer in the Mediterranean before departing towards the Caribbean Sea, according to monitoring service tankertrackers.com. The vessel has been expected to arrive in Cuban waters later this week, according to its speed and trajectory. This comes as the US Treasury Department said it would authorize companies seeking licenses to resell Venezuelan oil to Cuba's private sector, according to guidance posted on the department's website, a move that could help ease the island's acute fuel scarcity. We move on now, and Borje Brande has announced he is stepping down as president and CEO of the World Economic Forum following controversy linked to the late Jeffrey Epstein. Brande said the decision was taken to protect the credibility and integrity of the forum amid intensifying scrutiny over past associations connected to Epstein. The World Economic Forum has confirmed it has accepted his resignation and will begin the process of selecting new leadership in the coming weeks. The forum stressed that it has no operational or financial ties to Epstein and said it is reviewing internal governance practices. Brande will remain in place for a brief transition period as the organisation prepares for a leadership handover. Joining us now is Peter Cardillo, a chief economist at Spartan Capitals. He joins us live from New York. Thank you very much, Peter, for joining us here on NewsX World. As always, it's a pleasure to talk to you. What more can you tell us about this man, Borje Brande, the former now president and CEO of the World Economic Forum? Is this going to shake up the forum? What are you expecting from this?
Well, you know, obviously, he's not the first victim. There are many other victims, and from all parts of the world that are beginning to suffer from this, and heads are rolling. So what does it mean for the World Economic Forum? I don't think it means that very much. He's been around for a while, but I'm sure that they can replace someone that is qualified and likely to continue to work that the World Economic Forum requires it to. So I think it's, you know, it's a sad thing when it happens. It's certainly, like I said before, it's not he's not the first one, and not the first one in a particular nation. There are many fallouts from this Epstein situation. So. You know, I don't think it means in terms of a macro scope anything. You know, people are replaceable, and he's one of them.
And Jeffrey Epstein, of course, connected to the broad top finance players. You have the likes of Irina de Rothschild, the CEO of Edmund de Rothschild's group. The Mortimer Zuckerman, he was a billionaire real estate and media mogul. Leon Black, the billionaire co-founder of Apollo Global Management, actually lost his job over his ex-Epstein connections. And Les Wexner, a billionaire retail magnate. Just how much has this Epstein fiasco shaken up the world of finance, Peter?
I don't think it stops there. I think, it's going to continue. And as individuals get scrutinized, in many cases, they're going to be forced to resign in shame. It's an unfortunate situation, but, it shows you how Epstein was not only a domestic figure here in the States, but on a global scale, and how everyone wanted some, shall I say, perhaps economic benefits for engaging with him. And turns out to be that it was not really based on economics, but perhaps on situations that are certainly embarrassing to an individual.
Peter, do stay with us as we turn over to our next update. We head over to East Asia, where the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has stated that Germany and China face challenges they must overcome together as he wraps up his two-day visit to the country in the tech hub of Hangzhou. Merz highlighted the main issues centering around competition following his meeting with President Xi Jinping and the sealing of an Airbus deal. Merz has called for partnership and dialogue with China, aimed at resetting relations that have been clouded by a yawning trade deficit with the world's second largest economy. The German Chancellor is now in Hangzhou in Eastern Province to continue his first visit to China. Let's in fact listen in to what Merz has said.
Wir haben eine gute Kooperation mit China. Es gibt aber auch einige Herausforderungen, die wir gemeinsam bestehen müssen. Es gibt vor allen Dingen Themen beim Wettbewerb. Es gibt hohe Kapazitäten aus China, die zum Teil auch für Europa mittlerweile ein Problem darstellen, weil es Kapazitäten sind, die weit über den Marktbedarf hinausgehen. Darüber werden wir nach meinem Besuch noch intensiv zu sprechen haben. Ich werde auch die Bundeswirtschaftsministerin bitten, einen Folgebesuch in China zu machen.
Peter Cardillo joins us on this. Germany is trying to reset its relationships with China while the EU talks about de-risking. From a market's perspective, is this pragmatism or a strategic contradiction?
No, I don't think so. I think, look, everyone is trying to make the best deals for themselves. And, with the situation, with the tariff situation now, as it is here in the United States, I mean, it gives them leverage to perhaps unify and make deals. So I don't think it's going to have any serious consequences in the markets. No, I don't think so.
Peter Cardillo, thank you so much for joining us here on NewsX World. It's a great pleasure to talk to you here on the broadcast. We now move over to North America, where Jersey's parliament has given final approval to a bill legalizing assisted dying for terminally ill adults on the island. The state's assembly voted 32-16 in the favor of the legislation, will now need royal assent to become law. The law will allow mentally competent adults with a terminal illness who have been resident in Jersey for at least 12 months to choose assisted dying. Authorities plan to set up an assisted dying service over the next 18 months. Supporters of the bill, including Humanists UK, have called it a historic vote for compassion and dignity at the end of life. Jersey's Minister for Health said the law will be one of the safest and most transparent in the world. Cristiano Ronaldo has acquired a 25% stake in Spanish second division club Almeria, according to a statement from his consulting firm, Brunswick Group. Ronaldo made the investment through his CR7 Sports investment subsidiary. The club is currently owned by Saudi businessman Mohammed Al Kharajni, who took over the club in 2025. Ronaldo, who moved to Saudi Arabia in 2022 to play for Al Nassr, said in a statement that it has always been his ambition to contribute to football beyond the pitch. Almera is a Spanish club with strong foundations and clear potential for growth. He said the club, which was last in La Liga in the 23-24 season, is currently in third place in Spain's second division. Ronaldo's involvement comes as Almera looks to build on its current progress, with both the team and academy being central to their development plans. Financial details of the deal were not disclosed. The Milano Cortina 2026 Paralympic flame made its way past the iconic Duomo Cathedral in Milan, with the opening ceremony of the Games just 9 days away. The flame was lit in Stoke Mandeville, with the birthplace of the Paralympic movement. It was created by Great Britain's 4-time Paralympic medalist in para-alpine skiing, Millie Knight, alongside Andrea Macri, the vice-captain of Italy's para-ice hockey team, who will be attending his 4th Games in Milano Cortina. The flame will travel through Italy to end at Verona on March the 6th at the Arena di Verona for the Paralympic opening ceremony. The arrival of the flame in Verona will mark the official start of the Paralympic Winter Games. The Milano Cortina 2026 Paralympic Winter Games will take place from March the 6th to the 15th. The IPC says there will be up to 655 athletes from 50 nations competing across 79 medal events throughout the Games across 6 ports. Para-alpine skiing, alpine biathlon, para-cross-country, para-ice hockey, power snowboard and wheelchair curling are all events involved. Well, that's all that we have time for. Keep watching NewsX World for more international news updates.